Yo, what's good, guys? So today I wanted to talk about, is data worth trading? Obviously when data releases come out, the markets go crazy, uh, moving sometimes hundreds of pips in a matter of seconds. It's crazy. So should you trade these data releases? Um, well, let's get into first what happens when there are data releases in the market. One, liquidity goes, skyrockets. The market moves a lot, and when the market moves a lot, there has to be a lot of buyers or sellers, depending on which way it's going. So liquidity just skyrockets. The market moves a lot very, very quickly, which this is the appeal of trading data releases. Basically, people want to catch big moves really quick, but that can also lead to big losses very quick if you're not doing things right. Um, Another thing, when data releases happen, is usually spreads increase a lot. Sometimes even, the spread could be 20 pips, 50 pips. I've seen the spread be 200 pips during certain huge events. So you really have to be careful, right? These are sort of dangerous times if you're a trader, especially if you have really tight stops, and if your stops don't get hit, that could be a big problem. Because when there's a lot of liquidity, when the spreads, really widen, oftentimes manipulation can happen depending on your broker, and your order might not get triggered, and you could get stopped out, way past what you were expecting to. So in that regard, it can be kind of dangerous. Now, should you trade them? Here's my take on it. Most data releases, most data that comes out, if you look at the economic calendar, won't matter. If you're trying to analyze fundamentals, where an economy is headed, most of those things are going to be worthless to you. In all honesty, I hardly ever look at the economic calendar except for a very few specific things. But for the most part, I never look at it. And I think I do fine. So you don't really need to look at data a whole lot if that's the reason you're looking at the data. If you're looking at data to trade the actual release of the data, that's a different story. But my view on data is most of it's not important except for a few different, like, I would say only like 3 times a month is data important. Only 3 different like releases are usually important for the most part. The rest is just noise that doesn't actually impact much. So that's what I think. Um, in terms of trading data for actually trading the time of the release, I also don't think that's a good idea. Why don't I think it's a good idea? Because oftentimes, even if bias, if it's expected to be bad or expected to be good, the market might have already priced it in. So even if it comes out on the dot, it might not move in the direction you want. Another thing is when there's a huge data release, a lot of times, like I said, your stop might not get hit where you want it to, which is kind of scary. So that's another reason I advise against it. However, if you really want to trade data, here's what I recommend. I would recommend trading it either before, trade the market pricing in the data, meaning if it's expected to be bad, usually the market will sell off before the actual release because that's what, the market's expecting it to be bad. Or you can fade to the move, meaning after there's a big spike up or a big spike down, if you think it's going to head back up, you can fade the move. Spreads will be a lot lower. There won't be as much volatility. So you're just a lot safer playing the before and the after, and just leaving the, the huge spike to the noobs that want to go blow their account. I, I mean, realistically, that is a lot of times what happens. They see these big spikes and they're like, "Oh wow, I'm gonna put my whole account on it," and I'm sure guess what happens next. So yeah, guys, I just want to make this quick video. I don't think data is bad in any way, but I definitely think people are a little bit too dependent on it. Um, I've gotten DMs and stuff. People are like, "Oh, well, there's retail sales that's expected to be bad. I'm gonna go short, this pair." It's like, you know, it's probably not gonna impact the currency that much, especially if you're swing trading. Like for a week or two, retail sales is not gonna change the direction. I mean, so that's what I mean when I say data is not too important. There are a few pieces here and there that are, but for the whole majority, data is not that important. If you're trying to trade data, I recommend trading around the actual release. Like I mentioned before and after, I wouldn't trade the actual time release. Unless there's a special, unless it's maybe like an interest rate, which I guess would be considered data, maybe. Things like that. It's a little more certain, but even with that, it's better to trade it before and after. So that's my general advice. I do think trading data could be beneficial. It can be profitable, but you have to know how to maneuver it. So those are my tips. Trade before, trade after. Try to avoid, the spike if you can. And yeah, I hope this helped. I will see you guys in the video tomorrow or Sunday with my stock market challenge recap video, talking about how the week went, the trades I took, my profit or loss. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys